right, we've got another episode of Build Time queued up. For this episode, we've got Stefan, who's going to present the article that he wrote, How to Use Next.js Preview Mode with the Cosmic Headless CMS. All right, Stefan, you want to take it away?
All right, guys. Welcome to Build Time episode 3. And let's go over using Next.js Preview Mode with the Cosmic Headless CMS. So just to kind of show off what we're doing here with our developer portfolio template, this is going to be our demo today. We want to be able to preview content that is not published. So Cosmic makes this easy. We can just click this preview button here. And as you can see real quick, you know, we've got some published content, we've got draft content, and we want to see this draft content without having it go live. So maybe we can share it with our colleagues and team members and we can just see it for ourselves. And Cosmic makes this very easily utilizing Next.js Preview Mode. So as you can see, we can also go in and kind of explore our site and maintain this sort of context, and we can go around and make revisions to our content and mark it up. You could style it differently. So let's kind of go into the dashboard and see what we're doing first before we head into the code here. And if you go into the settings of your object here, in our case, this is all of our posts, our blog posts and articles. You can scroll all the way down to preview link, which is something that Cosmic provides with every object. And so you can see you can easily add a preview link to your app to preview content. And Cosmic allows dynamic links with shortcodes. You can use the object ID, the slug, the revision ID, or the timestamp. And essentially what we're doing here is we're using our URL that we're desiring to hit. And in Next.js, we're creating an API endpoint. And then we're telling Cosmic our secret preview token that you can generate. You can make any kind of base 64 any way you want to create your own token. And later on, it will check in your application in an environment variable and match up. And if this is matching and it's valid, then Cosmic will handle the rest by taking the object slug of the particular blog post and it'll add it on to the end here. So you can see that URL that was in the preview link is simply tied to this anchor here. And in our case, we've got the test preview, and that dynamic link is added right onto the end there. So if we go to something like getting started with this template, we can see that all that information we put in here, the slug is automatically added on. This makes it really easy to where you can simply share this link with any of your colleagues or anyone you want to share content with, and then they can basically hit this and it'll hit an API endpoint in Next.js, and bam, you've got your preview content. So
can we
kind of
explain that, Stefan, about like what happens when you visit that link? And I noticed it sets some sort of cookie, right? So that wherever you go on the site, it will have that kind of draft mode saved.
Yeah.
Can we take a look around again on that template to see where all of that is happening?
Sure.
So this is the specific post, and you see like the banner. Let's explain this a little bit. So we're showing a banner when that cookie is set. So let's look at all the places where the cookie is looking at this and activating some sort of draft visual state.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing we're kind of doing is we're creating functionality using the Cosmic NPM module to query for our preview posts. And then we're allowing that the posts have a status of any, which will render
before we jump into the code stuff. And I think it would be helpful just to on the application itself, just to show all the areas. So like we're seeing this, like just, you know, because I don't think it's really that clear because we haven't seen the version that doesn't have the draft state of what has changed on this, right? And I think this is a really cool part of this application that you built that kind of, you know, all of these are flagged with almost like that blue background, right? So just assume that nobody has seen this before. Like, where are the draft flags being set on this app? You don't need to open up the tools or anything. Just show it like on the actual app. So let's see where the draft status is being set.
You're talking about in the code?
No, like on the actual screen, right? So you're in preview mode. Click here to exit. Like where can we? Where is it indicated that this is draft mode?
Yeah, you're talking about this banner here.
Right.
Sure. So when we're in preview mode, we can see that we can navigate out to our posts, and we can see they have a draft tag here. And you can see also that they've got draft tags in multiple places. So that, you know, the kind of concept there is you can pass it through almost a context through a layout component, and you can tell your application that, hey, we're in draft mode. And you can essentially style the content that's not published differently than the content that's already published it.
Right. So that's super helpful to see, like, if you're, let's say you're a content creator or an editor, and you received this link or you followed it from the Cosmic dashboard. Now you know globally that you're in a preview state, but the URL hasn't changed. I think this is an important thing to note, is that URL doesn't have any flag or anything on it, right? You're just setting a cookie, but it's a global versioning system that's been set up, which is quite cool. In the fact that like, a lot of these posts could be in some sort of draft state, so you can have like bulk you know, preview that you need to do across all of these different articles, right? It's not just a specific article, it's really globally, right? And so that's an important thing to note here. And then can you show us what that looks like when you do click out of preview mode? Just because I think it's important to note that, like, this is only for this draft preview state, and the production content will not be affected, right? So let's see what that looks like.
Sure. And real quick, you made a really good point there about, you know, the fact that it kind of goes throughout the entire application. You could create an entire staging application and it'll look like your live site, but you could totally make things style a little bit differently and indicate that you're in preview mode. So yeah, let's clear those cookies here and let's exit, hit that API on route, and bam, we're back to our live state of our application. We're at the home page. We no longer have those preview posts. And if you notice, this one actually did have a draft state, and that's because we've made a revision after the fact, after publishing. So especially with Cosmic, it's important to remember that you can preview content that's already been published, and maybe you've made a revision to it. And yeah, it's super, super useful in that way as well. But yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I think the thing to remember with this is, like, your production content is not affected. All of your visitors to your website, specifically for this developer portfolio app, they'll be able to kind of see all of your production stuff. And then when you're ready to preview it, you just switch that cookie into preview mode. You see all the draft content. And then when you're ready to go live, you just have to go and individually set all of those posts to published, and then it'll be published on the production endpoint, right?
It's a really beautiful part of the collaboration aspect of Cosmic, is you can just send that link around and it's as easy as that. You don't have to have anyone go anywhere else but wherever that link is. So yeah, let's
for show up your new post. Try it out, maybe try with your friends or family or your readers. If it's work, you can change and go live with new version.
Absolutely.
Easy
and
to do.
It's crucial because, you know, sometimes you'll have content maybe for existing components you've built, and maybe you just want to test a certain element, right? So like maybe you start implementing code snippets into your code, into your markdown, and you want to make sure that everything looks nice. And I know personally, building some other applications, that was a big use case with the preview mode here, was going in and building a component to make code snippets, and then you can go in and you can write the code in Markdown and make sure everything looks good. And aside from that, you know, building entirely new pages will provide this benefit as well. So it's just a wonderful tool.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note here that this is a bit tricky with a headless CMS. We are still early in the development of headless CMS preview capabilities, but Next.js has done a great job of sort of bridging the gap, because, you know, prior to a headless CMS, you had like a monolithic application where you had the code and the data are kind of coupled together, and then you can sort of like have preview capabilities that really kind of are out of the box. But with a headless CMS, you do have to do a bit of manual integration work. But on the Next.js side, they've done a great job of just providing that for us and just sort of requiring that the headless CMS do a little bit of a configuration on sort of the preview link, right? And so I think that's a really important thing. I guess we're going to get to that next, is that how Next.js offers this capability and how it connects to Cosmic to kind of make it a streamlined experience.
Cool. Yeah. So on that note, let's kind of hop into the code and maybe even check out, there's one crucial thing about preview mode in Next.js, and that's rather than rendering our pages at build time, we're rendering at request time. So all of these articles that are pre-rendered during build time, they're statically generated. We've made that fetch already. We've made that call to the Cosmic CMS, and we've put all these posts in, but we're kind of out of luck if we want to add any content after the fact without this feature, because everything's already been generated. So that's the crucial part of this, is that request time, we're building or we're fetching that content from Cosmic. And essentially this is kind of what it looks like under the hood.
Can we zoom in on that?
I think absolutely. Let me hit a Control plus here.
Yeah, let me go ahead and make it full screen, and let's zoom
there we go. Yeah, so we can kind of
go a little bigger on that.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
There we go. Yeah. So we can kind of build this function in Cosmic where we can query our CMS by the slug, and then the crucial part of this is that we're querying for posts with a status of any, rather than published posts. We can get both published and unpublished, which is why in that list of posts, you still see all the existing content. And I think in a lot of use cases, you will still want to see the existing content, because maybe you have some iterations, right? You have some live content mixed with some not live content, and it's kind of important that you get to see both. So and essentially we're just returning the object. And let's see now, with a little bit of background of Next.js, we know that when we build a page in this API folder in our pages directory, it's a little bit different than just, kind of an index page or an about page or a slug page. It's not necessarily returning a component, at all, but you're actually building, you're creating an API endpoint so that you can kind of access like a RESTful API. And in this case, we can do things like create this handler, which is our preview handler, and it's our preview function. So that essentially what we're doing is we're checking to see if our environment variable matches the one we set in the dashboard earlier. And then we're calling the headless CMS, we're fetching that data, we're plugging in the query that we've sent to this endpoint. And as long as it's valid, as long as these checks work, then simply Next.js is setting the preview data. It's setting the preview cookies, and it's telling our application, hey, set this to true. Like, we know that now we're in preview mode. So you can essentially call in this preview posts by slug, and bam, we've got status of any based on the fact that that preview mode's true. And the last thing we're doing here in this API route is we are just redirecting to the location of that query. We're taking that slug, and as you can see, when we hit it, it's identifying that that's the slug we're hitting, and then bam, we're hitting right there. So yeah, and I would say that once you set the this API endpoint, and you've told your application that you're in preview mode, next thing you can kind of do is you can plug it into get static props, and you can update get static props. So wherever you're rendering your previewable content, you are essentially passing this. It's almost treated as a sort of context. You can treat it as a context, but this preview parameter will become true, and we can essentially fetch that data that's also preview content. And to kind of go into the fact that we're using this banner here to persist through the entire application. I know I mentioned earlier that we're passing it in through this layout component, and same thing, we're detecting that this preview parameter is true, and we're saying, okay, preview parameter is true, so render the preview component. And in the preview component, we kind of get to our last point here, which is we can also exit the preview mode from our application, and that way we can return to a live state of the application as we need to. And this one's a bit simpler, and it's essentially just clearing the cookies. You're clearing the preview data, and then you're redirecting to the home page. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it when it comes to the Next.js Preview Mode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So we'll have all these links in the show notes. So to kind of wrap this up, so we showed you how the demo works. You can go check it out. The Cosmic Developer Portfolio template. You can install the template, see how it all works. You can set your preview link in Cosmic. You go to any content type settings view, and you can add that preview link, and it'll show that that preview button that you can view. You can set it to your local host if you want to do local testing, or the way that Stefan's got it set up is on the Developer Portfolio CMS link on Vercel. So you can do this in development on localhost or in production, and it works either way. And then yeah, check out the code base and see how it's all put together with Next.js.
I have an idea, and you can also provide this tab with your content manager, and when he provide new content and schedule new articles or new content that need to go to live, he can just check it out. It's work clear, everything is not missing parts, and then go live. I mean, it's easy also for the users who not in background with development and stuff like that. I mean, it's so easy to use.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just such a useful tool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
You guys
anything else to add
else
to this before we wrap it up?
I've got nothing. I just thanks guys. Thanks for the good discussion today. You guys asked some good questions and brought up some good points, so I had a good time sharing.
Yeah, this is a great one to check out as far as like bridging the gap between content creators and developers to really create that streamlined experience using a headless CMS and using these modern tools like Next.js Preview Mode. So great work on this. And yeah, everyone tune in next time. We're gonna bring some more fire tutorials for you to check out how to use these great tools. So all right, Nara, Stefan, thanks guys. Thank you, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.